Welcome to the Incredible Hulk CRAMMED. This one is kind of the 2008 black sheep of the MCU, as it stars Edward Norton before Mark Ruffalo kicked in. But there is one of those post-credit scenes. Wait, did I mention that Nick Fury was at the end of Iron Man? So it still counts. Let's go. Our green-themed intro title suggests the backstory of a science experiment that temporarily turned Dr. Banner into something dangerous and out of control, that ended up hurting the ones he loved and getting him in trouble with General Ross. Well, it's been 158 days without incident, hidden away in a Brazilian favela for Bruce Banner, who's staying off the radar and learning to control his emotions by controlling his body. He works off the grid in a bottle factory next to a supermodel, but one day accidentally contaminates production. This is serious business to him, but someone somewhere is going to have a very memorable day. Scumbags get creepy, and Banner can't help but intercede, although he does avoid conflict. He's doing blood work experiments in his spare time in an attempt to cure the effects of Hulkamania, but still without success. And an anonymous online contact that's been aiding his research, called Mr. Blue, suggests that he send a little blood to them to also try to help with his gamma poisoning. And desperate for results, he gets shipping. Meanwhile, Stan Lee ends up on the receiving end of that tangy soda, and at the Pentagon, General Ross is alerted, and he's hot on Banner's trail. He puts an extraction team together led by Emil Blonsky, a Russian-born Royal Marine on loan to the US. It's a snatch and grab operation, but Banner's mysterious benefactor may have made some progress with his blood work. He's going to need some more data surrounding the original lab incident, but that means going back to the US to retrieve it. The extraction team get into position with their tranquilizer guns, but Bruce is already on the move with Emil in hot pursuit. The chase leads along the rooftops, but Dr. Banner must keep his heart rate down. He knows it's Ross, and bumps into those factory scumbags to help make his day even harder. Making it at night to the factory, he's caught, and takes a beating whilst the extraction team observe. But it's too late, and he transforms into the Hulk, who proceeds to make short work of everybody. Too thick-skinned for darts, and only angered by live ammo. And yet Emil remains relentless, but barely escapes alive, and the Hulk makes an exit. Looks like Banner keeps a picture of Arwen with his stuff, but General Ross says she's no longer a factor. Blonsky would like an explanation as to what the hell just happened, but it's time to go. However, once home he keeps pushing on the General, so Ross lets him stay on the hunt and explains that he tried to recreate an old World War II super soldier experiment, employing the peaceful Dr. Banner under the lie of it just being a radiation resistance project. But he tested it on himself, realised the danger he had become, and fled the scene to stay out of military hands. Blonsky, however, loves the idea of super serums to be a better fighter, and Ross gets him on board as a test subject. Banner wakes up in the jungle all the way over in Guatemala, and gets a lift into town. He ends up begging his way just over the border in Mexico, desperate to stay off the radar, and keeps moving until he makes it all the way to a university in Virginia in order to creep on his ex-girlfriend and cellular biologist, Dr. Elizabeth Ross. She's the General's daughter, and she's dating someone else. He finds an old friend to shack up with and dresses up as a pizza delivery guy in order to bribe his way past Lou Ferrigno and into the university labs, hoping to retrieve the data from his fateful experiment. But all the records have been erased from the system, and so his anonymous contact, Mr. Blue, can't help him any further. Elizabeth pops in for a late-night dinner and catches sight of Bruce, but he knows that he can't endanger her anymore, even though it's clearly a big deal for her. So she just drives around Virginia in the rain for a bit until she finds him on a bridge, wanting to help with his search for a cure. She saved a copy of the data before the army wiped it and kept it secret from her father. And Banner explains that he can't go back to the army for help because Ross just wants to use his blood to make a weapon of war. So he crashes over for the night, and both are on each other's minds. Meanwhile, Ross unseals some of the off-brand experimental serums from the World War II super soldier program that didn't quite manage to make another Captain America, and gives an extremely low dose to Blonsky in a painful series of injections. Next day, Banner is set to leave, but it's too late. The army are on him. Blonsky is keen to test himself out, but for now he's on reserve. And chased back through the university, Banner swallows his data, and Arwen shouts at her dad for being a dick. Banner is sealed in position and gassed, but it's the sight of Elizabeth in trouble that sets him over the edge, and he transforms again into the Hulk. He starts to make short work of the army and the 50 caliber Humvees, but Emil couldn't be happier. It looks like that small dose of the serum has allowed him to retain his humanity whilst being faster and stronger than ever before, being able to almost keep up with the Hulk before luring him over into the path of some sonic cannons. They almost have him, but the Hulk destroys their tech, and Blonsky gets a little too cocky before getting splattered like a bug. Ugh. Then a helicopter gunship comes in to reinforce the attack, but the General's daughter is in the kill zone to the dismay of Ross, and she's saved only by the Hulk and his sexy haircut. He takes her out to a cave somewhere in the mountains, where she gets to see his emo side and his mood swings in the rain. But her presence seems to reach through and have a calming effect on the Hulk. Emil is still alive, although he really shouldn't be, and he makes an inhuman recovery, stunning the General. The soldier is even fitter than before and ready for another round, although he's kind of looking a bit off. And the next morning, Banner is back, and it's Elizabeth's turn to help look after him. He gets difficult flashbacks from his time as a Hulk, but it looks like that USB made it out the other end. I hope you rinsed that. Their feelings for each other rekindle, but Bruce cannot risk too much excitement. He doesn't want to control the Hulk, but to get rid of it. So they elope, and taking steps to avoid the army dragnets, they go and boaty themselves into New York. Ross, in the meantime, uses S.H.I.E.L.D. to search the net for any correspondence between a Mr. Green and a Mr. Blue, and the anonymous medical benefactor is discovered, a cellular biologist called Dr. Samuel Stearns. Banner is there to meet in person, and Stearns is down for helping with the suppressant. If they get things wrong, it could kill Banner, or worse, the Hulk could kill everyone else. Meanwhile, it's starting to look like Emil might not be taking so well to that off-brand serum after all, but he puts a brave face on it. The science crew get experimenting, and they need Banner to start hulking up in order to generate a suppressant at the same time. It's all really gross, but Elizabeth helps to keep Banner in control whilst the suppressant is formulated, and it appears to have worked. Stearns is hyped, but mentions a number of previous test subjects that didn't work, and Banner wants to see the rest of his lab. Again, the army moves in, because that keeps working, and it turns out that Stearns has been replicating gallons of Bruce's blood to use as possible cures to other diseases, as well as finding an antidote. But it's too dangerous, and Banner explains the army only want to turn it into a weapon. The blood must be destroyed. Meanwhile, Blonsky goes off book and moves in without orders, despite the General's concerns for his daughter. Banner gets tranquilized through the window, and Emil wants to fight the Hulk, but no joy. And so now captured, Bruce is going to rot in a hole somewhere for the rest of his life, while the military take his blood. And General Ross's relationship with his daughter is essentially over. But it looks like Blonsky is done with taking orders, and is desperate for some more super serum, aggressively talking Stern into mixing it up a bit, with some Hulkamania blood as well. He's become violent and beyond reason, and is willing to take the risk of becoming a possible abomination. So Banner's blood is mixed in with Emil's already juiced up body, and it looks like he's going to be failing his next round of wellness testing. He takes out his former military colleagues, and hits the streets looking for trouble. So now General Ross has to turn the helicopter around at the news of a second Hulk. But this guy is something far worse. Wait, Omar? Abomination looks and acts like a monster from Doom, and Ross is starting to wonder if his weapons program really was such a great plan. With standard gunfire having no effect, the military on site try to dream a little bigger, darling, but all they do is make themselves a target for a charging monster, desperate to find a real fight. This is all because of Bruce and the General's original research, and so General Ross agrees to let Banner try to stop Abomination. Bruce jumps out of a helicopter, which doesn't seem like such a great move at first, but it's the Hulk that pulls himself out of the ground. The two giants charge at each other on the streets, but Abomination is the more powerful. So he improvises some knuckle dusters to give a beat-down session before the fight takes them into an apartment building. Ross provides gunship support in the heavily populated area, getting the monster's attention whilst the Hulk manages a late save. They all crash without explosion in an abandoned lot, and all the military die except for the main characters. But Abomination wants more, and so the fight goes on. However, seeing Elizabeth in danger as the flames start to take hold of the helicopter, he finds the strength to put Blonsky in the wall, and uses a thunderclap just in time to blow out the imminent explosion. What? Abomination uses an improvised flail for a bit, but the Hulk spoils his footing, and he manages to choke out the monster and win the day, leaving Abomination at the General's feet. The city is safe and Elizabeth is alive, but the military never quits, and the Hulk is forever on the run. Oh my god. And so Bruce Banner continues to live off the grid, letting Betty know from a distance that he's still out there, learning to control his power. Meanwhile, General Ross is down in the dumps following that horrific shit show, and Tony Stark pops over to rub it in a bit. See, he might have a use for a Hulk in some kind of team. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed having the Incredible Hulk crammed inside of you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe before YouTube eats itself entirely, and I'll see you next time. Take care.